Hi, everyone. Good evening. How are you doing? I am Jeanette from Equa Sewing and Crafts and stuff. Hey, Miss Magic, Renee, Trisha, Wanda, Norma, how you doing? I am not going to start right away because usually when I start right away, that whole bunch of people start coming in and stuff like that. So before I start on the challenges, because this week, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was the big challenges that I have come across in embroidery. And then what I did also was I did some research to find out from other people what their big challenges are as well. So, I wanted to share with you guys some of the stuff that, has really been like a hiccup for a lot of people and stuff. So, but before we start though, I wanted to show you guys what I did. I went on Etsy because apparently, Bernie is all over the place, right? So if you guys see on Facebook, a lot of people taking Bernie on the chair and he's been all over the place, right? So I went and I created this kitchen towel where Bernie's saying what's cooking. So I thought that came out pretty neat. I see that a lot of people have been selling Bernie stuff on Etsy. So I'm kind of like, let me make one and see if it sells. I don't know. We see. It hasn't sold yet, but I think it came out really cute. I really like the way the embroidery file looks and stuff. So I figured if anything, it'll end up in my kitchen. What the heck? I'll hang out with Bernie in the kitchen and stuff. So, I thought it was kind of cute, so I'm like, let's see if it sells. If it sells, great. And if it doesn't, that's all right, So let me see. I see people are really starting to get in. Hi, Lucy, Lucky Lucy, Irene, Kathy, Carol, Jennifer. I see Francine, Maria, Sarah, Robin, Trisha, Maddie, Susan. Okay, cool. All right, well, I'm going to start, okay? Because I am going to start because this is all, I'm going to talk to you guys all about the different challenges. And then what I also did was I was looking at our Facebook group to see some of the challenges that you guys are having. And I noticed there is a lot of common issues that we're all sharing with the machines, okay? So I wanted to talk to you about some of the challenges, okay? So here we go. I'm going to start. The first thing I have on my list is dot planning. Okay. And when I'm talking about not planning is I'm talking about when you made a decision that you're going to tackle an embroidery project, right? Like I'll give you an example. Somebody wants a shirt, right? And they want a certain design on the shirt and they want a particular shirt. So in order for you to really be successful in tackling the project, you have to look at what type of an embroidery design. Is it a dense design? Is it, an embroidery design that isn't really too dense and stuff? So you really don't have to worry about too much stabilizer or, what kind of fabric, what kind of stabilizer you need to do. So, think about it. Whenever you are going to do an embroidery project, you got to really plan. You got to think about what you're trying to do, how you're going to do it. And then from there, you start to kind of put it all together. So it's kind of like a puzzle, right? So when you don't do that, what ends up happening is then you're going to start seeing that your fabric is going to bunch up. You're going to see puckering because you didn't plan right. So you didn't use the right stabilizer. And, because you didn't take certain things into effect, if you're lucky, you get it right the first time. But if you're not lucky, then what's going to happen is then you're going to find out maybe I used the wrong needle. Maybe I used the wrong stabilizer. Maybe I shouldn't be using that type of design on this type of fabric, So there's a lot of things that you have to take in mind. So that was one of the things that I noticed, and I myself have done it. Sometimes I'll just want to do something and I don't even think about it. I just go, I'm going to do it. And that's it. And then next thing you know, I screw up, and then I end up throwing a hat away or throwing away the shirt. And a perfect example of that too, of the not planning, is if you see the video where I did those 36 shirts and I did the horror story of 36 shirts, I just told the guy, yeah, I could do your shirts, no problem. Well, yeah, I could have done them if I was using the same shirts that I was always using, which was the Gillian shirts that were 100% cotton. Like this is Gillian. These shirts are pretty tough. They're pretty, they're hard, right? But the shirts that I bought him were Bella Canvas, and those shirts were softer. So I couldn't use the same stabilizer that I could in this shirt. And, it just really threw off everything, right? So I ended up ruining a bunch of shirts, and I didn't have the right equipment because I didn't think about it. He was like, I want a logo in the front. I didn't think about how are you going to measure the logo in the front to make sure that it's in the same spot for every shirt. I didn't think about any of that. So when I tackled it on, I mean, it was just like, it was bad. I mean, I was stressed, and I think I like quit like 5 times of making the shirts and stuff, but I kept at it. And, I ended up finding out that I really needed to use cutaway. I could not use tearaway, and I really needed to not just use the cutaway, but I had to spray adhesive on the cutaway so that the shirt wouldn't shift. And I had to buy a hooping station so that way I can use it on the big machine. And also so that I can make sure that every time I did the logo on the front chest, that it always landed in the same spot. So planning is pretty important, okay? Especially if you're doing something for the first time, okay? The other thing is not testing a design that you have for the first time, okay? If you buy an embroidery design, I know it's very tempted because I did it myself, where you go and you buy this embroidery design, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's pretty. I want to put it on a hat. I want to put it on this or that, whatever, right? So you buy the embroidery file, you stick it in your SC1900, and then you start to embroider. Then you find out there's something wrong with the file. That may be like a young lady in Facebook had mentioned, she bought a file and it had a misspelling in it. So she had to get back to the digitizer to let them know so they could fix the file, so that way she could then use the file on a product. Well, if you didn't, I hope she did. I didn't ask if she did test it and stuff. She just mentioned, oh shoot, got this file, now this is a misspelling. So I don't remember if she had mentioned if she had actually put it on a product that she wanted to embroider on, or she did it on a test sheet. I use felt. I like felts because they're very cheap, they're inexpensive, and you just put that in your 5x7 hoop and you can test out the file. And then if you see that it works great, then you know that the design is exactly how you thought it was going to be. And then I would go in and I would put it on there. Some people will argue with me and say, Jeanette, well, you're wasting thread. Well, yeah, you could say that. You could say that you're wasting thread. But you know what? Then I say to you, okay, then don't do it. And then when you stitch it out and, if it doesn't work, then you wasted thread and you wasted a product. So it depends, which of the two evils do you want? Do you want to waste a couple of thread and see what the end product's going to look? Or do you want to put it on something and then all of a sudden when you put it on, it doesn't, you end up saying, oh shoot, that file's a mess. And now I got to take this baseball hat and throw it out. So you got to test it. Okay. Now, the thing is, don't think that has not happened to me, because it has. Because I got an example of that, this hat right here. I went and I embroidered this hat. If you look at it from far away, I'm sure you guys will say, ooh, that came out nice. But if you look real close, and I think this is the other thing too, when you are the one that does the embroidery, you are very particular about the stitches because you know exactly what it's supposed to look like. To someone who doesn't do embroidery, they'll probably look at this hat and go, oh, this looks nice. I'll take it, right? But the thing is, I know. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on the camera. I'm going to try to put it as close as I possibly can, and I think you can see it. If you look at the hand right here, look at the line right there, the stitch. See how it's out of line? You see there's a space between the beige. There's a stitch right there, and there's like black right there, see? That should not be, it should be crisp like this one, like the green, but this is not. So I did this on this hat, okay? Because I didn't test the design. Did not test it. And then I was thinking, at first I did it on the hat, and then I thought to myself, oh shoot, did the hat shift? Because right away you start thinking maybe I had it on the sticky stabilizer, I had it down, and maybe my hat moved and I didn't realize that it moved, right? So then I went and I did what I should have did in the beginning, which was take a piece of felt and I put it on the 5x7 hoop and I restitched it, and then the same thing happened. So it had nothing to do with how I hooped the hat. It was fine. There was a problem with the file. So I had to go into Embroidery, and then I had to make sure that I fixed that stitch that was out of line, which what I did was I just removed all that stitching. Okay. I zoomed it in and then I removed it. Okay. So test your designs, especially if you just bought it. You know what I'm saying? If at least once, because once you bought the file and you downloaded it and you test it and you know for sure it works the way it's supposed to work, then you're golden. You just keep the file and you just use it as much time as you want. But if you just bought it and you haven't used it yet, and then you want to go put it on a product like a hat, these things cost money. I mean, these hats are not free. Even when you buy them in bulk, they may be inexpensive, when you do buy them in bulk, and you're probably like, oh, okay, it's $5 a hat. But the thing is, it's $5 that came out of your pocket. So, and I'm cheap. I like the money in my pocket, not out. So, I mean, that's just me. Okay. So the other thing that I advise you guys is when you are embroidering, and I'm guilty of all this stuff that I'm telling you. Okay. So I'm just telling you from my experience. Okay. Rushing. There have been times when, like, let's say I'll get an Etsy order. And, when you get an Etsy order, you get this little noise. You go ching, ching, like money, right? And I get all excited, right? Fred will tell you, because I'm like, I'll hear it. I'll be sitting in the living room and I hear ching, ching. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, oh, I got a sale. So I need to make the sale, right? Oh, shoot, I hear the door. Hold on. Let me just open the door for him. I'll be right back. All right, here you go. All right. So anyway. Oh, Lord, he's here. Okay. So I make the sale, right? Oh, God. Sorry. And you hear the ching, ching. So I get all excited. And I'm like telling Fred, oh, my God, I made a sale. I made a sale. Now, in my listings, I usually put that I will mail the item out within like, oh, Lord, I don't know what he's doing. Okay, that I mail the item out in about a week. So I usually have a lot of time to, here you go, that I have a lot of time to, to mail it out. He's really distracting me. Sorry. So I have time to do it. But I just feel like, oh, I got a sale. I got to make it. Let me make it right now so I could put it in the mail tomorrow, right? So what ends up happening is, because I'm all excited and everything, I start rushing and everything. So then I was like, I'll hoop it and stuff. And that's where all the mistakes happen, because I'm in a rush and I'm not really taking my time. I'm not, putting the sticky stabilizer, calmly in the hoop, making sure it's aligned right, because that happens. I rush. Next thing you know, when I'm done with the towel, the thing is all crooked, or the towel shifted, or I used the wrong color, or, I ended up, messing up with threading the machine. It ends up being a mess. So now what I learned is I kind of conditioned myself that if I hear, the noise, ching, ching, whatever, I made a sale, I just go, oh, I made a sale. And I just leave it. And I'm like, I know I got a week or 3 weeks or whatever I put on that listing, or 3 days or whatever that I put on that listing to make the towel. And I take my time. I take it when I know I'm not going to have interruptions. I'm not going to have this guy running around. And, I can just focus on me making the project on the machine. Stop, Mello. So when you are, when you're rushing, it's that's when you make the most mistakes because you forget certain steps. So don't rush. Your needles. Pay attention to your needles, okay? Remember, you gotta change your needles. The rule of thumb is change your needles every 8 hours of embroidery, okay? If you don't change your needles every 8 hours, what ends up happening is the needles then become dull. And when they become dull, when they're actually stitching and they're pumping the hole in your fabric, instead of it being a nice small hole, your holes can be bigger. And it can really disfigure your embroidery, the images that you put on the towel. So, there have been times when, I don't write down or keep tabs of the needle of when I changed it. And then what ends up happening is, I'm bad, okay? And they like a whole month will pass by. And then when I start to embroider, then I start seeing like the file looks kind of funky, when it's stitching. I'm like, this doesn't look so clean like it used to. You know what I'm saying? It's like it doesn't. You could tell when you put in a new needle and you see how gorgeous and flush and nicely everything kind of just sews in. And then when you have a old needle that's like dull and stuff, you'll see that the hole gets kind of big. It's not. You will tell the difference. Trust me, when you do this long enough and you know what a perfect, good embroidery looks like compared to, you'll know when you did your poopy job embroidery, you'll be like, So, that's something. To me, I always say, get like a little notebook. I have like a little notebook, that I keep around. And, you can get them at the dollar store and stuff. And just keep them by your embroidery machine and write down the date that you change your needle, right? And you have in your mind, if you kind of ran that, did you run the machine all day or you kind of figure it out. The rule of thumb is 8 hours, so just make sure you change it out every 8 hours because you don't want it to get dull, okay? And this goes along with the other challenge that I have. This goes along with rushing. Improper hooping, okay? If you don't hoop your project correctly at all, then what happens is, I don't care if the machine is not going to come out. Your product is not going to come out. Hooping is, first of all, it's really like the first step in embroidery. Taking your item and putting the stabilizer together on the hoop and putting it on the machine. If you don't have that step down and you don't have the product perfectly put on the hoop, then you're good luck. I hope it works, But to me, it's the proper hooping is the most important. If you don't have that, then everything else can kind of like, you know what I mean? The fabric can shift on you. You could get puckering. You can get, if it's too tight, if you pull the fabric, because some people do that, they'll hoop something and they'll pull on both sides that it's like so tight you can't, you don't want you want it to sound like a drum, like what I do is I take my stabilizer, I put it in, and then I just like, I go like this to it, like that. And it sounds like a little drum, when it sounds like that's when it's pretty good. Matter of fact, I'll make a video on that, okay? Because that way you guys could see what I'm talking about, okay? And, if you do it too loose, then what happens is also you can end up with holes in your fabric. And a couple of times, if you're not paying attention on how you set the hoop in the machine, and depending, like especially shirts, right? Let's say you wanted to embroider the front of the shirt. You got the back of the shirt. You got to make sure that you're lifting up the back of the shirt and that while the machine is embroidering, it's not catching, it's not going to snag and the side of the shirt or anything like that. That you're gonna leave that area where it's gonna embroider nice and clear of everything. So I mean, hooping and paying attention and being patient and everything, that's it all comes to play. It really does and stuff. When you are going to embroider something, right? And it's something new, you need to research on what you need. I told you guys about a guide, and I found this on embroiderydesigns.com. And the guide is called Fabrics 101 and Stabilizer Guide. This is a really good place to start because it tells you about the type of fabric, the type of stabilizer that you need, the design, and also the needle, right? Because you got to remember the rule of thumb, usually for a lot of embroidery that you do, you will always, and I'm not even saying always, most likely you're going to use the size 7511, okay? Most likely. But depending on what you're going to do, like if you do jersey knits and stuff, you may have to change it up, okay? So this guide is really, really good because it tells you about the fabric. It tells you about what stabilizer you should use. And it also tells you about the needle, okay? So, you know, when you are going to embroider something for the first time, it's really important that you look at, you know, you do the research to find out exactly what you need, okay? Because that will really set you up for success. If you guess the way I did when I did those 36 shirts, you're gonna end up with a mess. I threw out a lot of shirts, I threw out a lot of stabilizer, and you know, I was stressed. Okay, so you know, you don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, oh, another thing that I wanted to tell you, this is a little tip. When you are starting out with embroidery, the best way to do it, because a lot of people ask me about the threads, right? And they're like, what kind of set should I get? Always start with a starter set. When you start with a starter set of like 63 spools, but then now they have starter sets with 260 spools, okay? And they're not that expensive. And the spools are not that big, okay? They're, you know, they're not small, but they're not that big. Sometimes people come out and say, what about the big spools, right? Well, this is how I say to do it. Start off with the small kit. And then what you do is, because if you really think about it, you know, like let's say I started with the 63 colors, right? You don't use all 63. Well, sometimes you do, but you don't use them all at the same amount, right? Sometimes you use a lot of blue, sometimes you use a lot of black or a lot of white. Sometimes you may not use a lot of olive or orange or certain colors, right? Certain colors you're going to use a lot, some of them not that much. I say you go to the big spool when you see you know, and I don't even know if I'm saying it right. The big spool, the big thread, okay? You get that when you see that you're using a lot of color, a certain color, right? Like for instance, I use a lot of white and I use a lot of black. So when you go look behind me right there, I have a lot of the black and the white in the big ones, okay? Then I do have some other colors in the big ones, like the blue. I use the blue a lot. But then you know, if you look on the side behind right here, you see these are all my little spools, okay? And usually what I do is I buy replacements for the little spools for little ones if it's colors that I just use once in a while. I don't really use them all the time, right? I do use a lot of reds, I use a lot of greens, I use a lot of blues, I use a lot of gold. There's certain colors that I do use an awful lot of because there's certain items that I make a lot of, like the dinner napkins. A lot of people love the gold color. You know, they always want the black napkins with the gold initials and the gold trim, or, you know, certain colors that are very, very common. So in those, I buy the big spool, okay? The others, I will just buy the small because to me, it's like, you know, it's going to last a long time. Now, the other thing too is watch your spools. Watch the thread, okay? Because the last thing you want is to be in the middle of a project and you run out of a color. So I usually by, like every like 2 months, I look through all my small spools, right? And I look to see, oh, this one looks like it's running low. And then I always say, do I have another small spool to replace, to go in its place when I run out? If I don't, then I'll order it. I'll go to simthreads.com and I usually order it. But if it's a color that I use a lot, like the gold and the blue and the black and white, then I'll replace it with a big one, because those big ones last forever. Like I have a gold big spool right there, and that thing lasts me the whole Thanksgiving, the whole Christmas, because I had a lot of orders of those, and I still have thread left. I will have to buy another one though, another big spool. I'm gonna get excited though when I use it, because that'll be my first big spool that I use the whole thread. Now I will say I get excited when I use all the thread of a spool, because I just feel like, oh, I used it all. You know what I mean? So it's just an excitement. And I think you guys have seen me. I post it on Facebook all the time. And I always go, hey, look, I finished my spool, because it feels like an accomplishment. So anyway, but that's something that I really advise. Let me see. Oh, also, sometimes you are embroidering. You're going to get bird nesting. So somebody put on Facebook, they're having issues with bird nesting and stuff. A lot of times, some of this stuff is you got to clean your machine. I have a video out there on cleaning your machine. Make sure you clean your machine. I'm telling you, when I first got my machine, my SC1900, I didn't know you were supposed to clean it at all. And I worked on that machine like a horse for I think I had it 6 months, and I still didn't clean it. And then all of a sudden, the embroidery really started messing up, and I couldn't figure out what's going on. Then I looked on YouTube, and somebody said, this is how you clean your machine. And I was like, you're supposed to clean the machine? Well, when I took out the bobbin case, I saw so much lint in there. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Now, when I told my mom was like, you didn't know you weren't supposed to clean that? And I was like, I didn't know. I just didn't know, right? So now what I do is every month, and not even every month, I think I do it like on a weekly basis. I'm kind of used to it now. I will lift up the bobbin case, and I take that little brush that it came with and lift up the lint and take it all out, because that can really mess up your embroidery, and it can mess up your machine too. Do not use an air can, because what air can does is it blows the lint more into your machine. What you're trying to do is you want the lint out, not in. So do not use an air can. I know it's tempting, because because believe me, I thought of it too. I'm like, I could take an air can and just go cheat, and all the stuff come out. But at the same time, some of it may come out, but a lot of it's going to just nest more in your machine. So don't do it. Just take that brush that they gave you. Another person had wrote to me and said you could take a Q-tip. You could take a nice little Q-tip, and you can put the Q-tip around there to lift the lint. That's another good idea. So, sometimes that will mess up your machine, okay? Now, another thing that really hasn't been talked about, using the right hoop. The Brother machine is a 5x7 hoop, but you can also use a 4x7 hoop, and you can also use a 5x12 hoop. When I first started embroidering, I thought, if you have the biggest hoop, just use the big hoop for everything, right? That's what I was thinking. Just use the big hoop for everything. It'll work. That's not true. No. If you have like a little logo, let's say I have a logo and I want to put it on here, right? You want a small hoop. I'm trying to see where's my hoops. I don't have the small hoop here. Do I? I do. Well, okay. I'll show you this one. Okay, great. I can't pick that one up. All right. I'll show you this one. This is from this machine, but use this as an example, okay? Make believe the 5x7 is the big one. This is a 4x4. It's really not, but this is really a I don't know what this is. 5 by 5, but let's make believe it's a 4 by 4, right? When I use these, I use this for when I'm doing logos, right? And the reason why, there you go. Sorry, I know that was loud. The reason why is because if you use a small hoop for a small project, it's going to hold the fabric better. It's going to really hold the fabric and the stabilizer properly. So that way it can embroider. If I had a huge hoop, right? Let's say I had a real big one, and all I was doing was embroidering a little bit in the middle. You got to remember the big edges is what's holding the fabric, okay? So that means that it's a little more looser. So you want to use the right hoop for, the right size hoop for what you are embroidering. So the 4 by 4, if you look at my Amazon store, we have I have the kit where there's an embroidery where you could buy 4, I think it's 4 hoops that comes into it. So 5 by 7, the 5 by 12, the 5 by 7, the 4 by 4, and I know there's another size in there. I think it's a little one. I think it's a real little one. Jesus, where's my hoops? I don't know where my hoops are. Okay, I have them, but anyway, and I think there's a small round one if I'm not mistaken. But make sure that when you are going to embroider, you have a thorough understanding of the size of your embroidery, okay? And that you are going to use the right hoop for that particular embroidery. Now, like I said, the SC 1900 comes with the 5 by 7. But what I will do is I will create, and I'll write that down, a video on the different hoops and how to use the different hoops on the machine. I do have already a video on how to use the 5 by 12. Okay. In that video, what I did was I showed you how I took an embroidery file and I saved it for a repositioned hoop, because that's what the 5 by 12 is. And I did the whole thing from the computer all the way in the machine on how to embroider using the 5 by 7. However, though, I need to do a video to show you guys. Let's say you wanted to use the 4 by 4 hoop or the smaller hoop, and you didn't want to use the 5 by 7 that came, with the SC 1900. So I can do a little demonstration to show you how you change the hoop size on the machine, so that way you can use the smaller hoops. So that will be a great help, because that sometimes is a problem when people are embroidering, when they're not using the right hoop size, because what happens is it doesn't hold the material correctly so that the machine can embroider properly. You could end up with a lot of puckering and all that kind of stuff. So I got to show you guys that for sure. And let's see, is that all I had? Man, I went through that enough. Okay, enough stock, buying the threads, changing the needles, cleaning the machine. Yeah, man, what time? Oh, man, okay, I was early today. All right, so let me go through the chat, because I want to see if you guys have any questions, because as always, I like to go through the chat, because I always like to capture everybody's questions and stuff like that. We got people from all over the place: Indiana, Michigan, California, Maryland, Miami. Hola, chica. Hey, Lucy. Francine. How you doing, friend? Hey, Maria. Hey, Sarah. Let's see. Hey, Robin. Okay, Maddie. Sending good vibes from Boston. You go, girl. Sending you good vibes from Virginia. Hey, Susan. Oh, South Carolina. Okay. Hey, Mary Beth. Hey, Iris. Let's see. I made a bunch of hand sanitizers with Bernie. Oh, Renee, you got to post it. You got to post that and stuff. I do see that a lot of people are doing the hand sanitizers, and I think that's an In the Hoop project. And I have not done a video with the In the Hoop project yet. I am going to tell you this, though. I did one In the Hoop, and that was the ID badges. And I was a mess, because there's those projects you got to go You really got to read those directions, and you got to go step by step by step by step to get that done. So it is not my favorite thing, but I do know one thing though. Once you got it, then you're good. You can create those, like, just take them, just do like dozens of them. So I know you can do them really, really quick and stuff. Hey, Bernadette, Queens, New York. I used to live in Queens. I used to live in Rosedale, Queens. Hey, Robin. Happy Friday to the Hoop Group. Hey, Iris. Queens. How are things in the 5 boroughs? Oh, yeah. New York got a lot of snow. That is true. Finally caught you live. Hey, Cheryl. How you doing, girl? Proud of you. And stuff. Cheryl's been rocking that SC 1900. She has done so many great projects and stuff like that. She has been posting them on the Facebook group, and they've been coming out really, really good. I mean, she's got it going on. So she's doing really, really good. I'm proud of you and stuff. Hey, Jennifer, embroidered 4 knit hats for my grandkids. So easy. Followed your tutorial. Oh, that's so great. Next will be baseball caps. Oh, Jennifer, you're going to love that. And for the baseball caps, I do recommend, you could probably do it without a hat hoop, but I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, someone asked me about it too. Somebody had posted recently. They were like, I heard these things had bad reviews. I don't know what kind of bad reviews these things got. I mean, this one's mine. I just literally cleaned it today because usually I put the sticky stabilizer. I kind of tape it on here. And I went and I got Go Gone. You get it from Lowe's, and it you can just wipe it, and the sticky adhesive comes right off. I love this thing because it's like you put this inside the hoop, the way this works. I mean, and to me, and it's not that expensive. I didn't find it too expensive. It's like you have your 5x7 hoop, and then instead you take the top off and you just pop this in here, and then you open this lid. You just untighten this, and then you open the lid, and you put the hat, you just slide it in, and then you just squish this down. And I think Cheryl did a video on our Facebook group and of her doing her hat, and came out really cute and stuff. But I mean, I like these things. I mean, I think they're really, really cute. She got me in the mood to do hats, so I went and I did this one. Came out really cute. I made one that says Latina and stuff. The only thing I don't like about this hat, I don't like the way the A came out. I think the A came out a little slanted, but somebody else looking at it may not see it that way. They might say, "Oh, Jeanette, looks fine." But I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably try another font. Or something. Maybe I'll do a script font or something, put Latina on it and stuff. But yeah, I love doing hats. I think if you do baseball hats on the SC 1900, very, very easy to do, especially if you get this. I mean, this is like the best, and I really liked it. I got it from the Etsy shop. I think Lucky Lucy contacted the owner of the Etsy shop and gave us another way to order it, and she posted it on the Facebook group. This is really good material. I mean, I think this is steel. I'm not sure, but it is very, very good material. And I've had this now for over a year. It's not dented or anything, and I have used this puppy. Let me tell you, I use it a lot because a lot of people like the baseball hats, and they'll, my girlfriend, she wanted a whole bunch of golf hats, and I made all the golf hats for her. My friend's son wanted the Black Lives Matters hats. I made a whole bunch of those. And, then when I saw Cheryl doing her hats, I was thinking, wait a minute, I'm over here doing hats for everybody. I haven't even done one for me, So then I said, I'm going to make me a Latina hat. And I really like the way this came out. So this is going to be one of my summer wears this year. So I really, really liked it. So, oh yeah, you're going to have fun doing the caps, Jennifer. That's for sure. I almost didn't watch it because it was saying 1 a.m. Hey, Iris, it wasn't saying 1 a.m. Oh, man, that's when she was coming on at 1 a.m. Really? Does it say that? Oh, I gotta check that. I gotta make sure I check my videos and stuff like that. Okay, let's see. Hey, Marilyn, Deborah, Cheryl, put it directly on the shirt. Should have tested it. It was Cheryl. Yeah. You know what? Don't worry about it. I mean, shoot, I do it too. You know how many you have known many times. And sometimes I tell the worst thing too, I sometimes tell people, don't walk away from your machine. Sit there, watch it and stuff. What do? I say, oh, let me go to the bathroom, or let me go downstairs and get a cup of coffee. Then when I come up, the machine's a mess. And then I'm like, that's really great. I never should have, I tell people what to do, and then sometimes I don't even do what I tell people they should do. So, it sucks, so sometimes you learn the hard way, but sometimes those lessons that you learn the hard way are the ones that you really learn. So, believe me, after that, I'm like, ugh, don't do that. Hey, Creations from Thailand, how are you? And I believe you have your own little channel too, so you guys should subscribe to her channel too and stuff. I think she has her own channel and stuff. Watching for the corrected. I'm waiting for the corrected file. Oh, okay. Awesome. Make sure you get it too, because because that was a really cute. She had a design, and it was like of a man, and one of the words was misspelled. So it sucked. I was like, oh man, because that would have been a gorgeous design and stuff. But I'm sure they'll get it to you, Cheryl, because they're usually pretty good at that. Okay. Why does the needle break? Okay, Carol, it could be a lot of reasons why the needle broke. I mean, I really can't tell you. I mean, it could be also that sometimes your needle's not in right. That happened to me once, changing the needles. That's why I said you can't rush. Once I was changing my needle, and when I put the needle in, I thought I put it all the way up, and then I tightened it. I didn't do that. And then I, went to start, and, and I didn't even use the automatic threader. I manually threaded and stuff because I was busy talking. I don't know what I was doing. Wasn't paying attention, period. And then what happened was, once the machine started, pop, the needle break. And let me tell you, I don't like it when the needle breaks, because I'm always afraid that a piece of that needle is going to hit me in the eye, or it's going to fly somewhere, and then I can't find it, because you always want to make sure you find those needles, especially all the pieces of the needles, because the last thing you want is for that to fall on the floor and it gets in your foot or something like that. Sometimes it could be that you used the wrong needle, that it just wasn't threaded right, the needle wasn't put in right. It could be a lot of things and stuff. The best answer I could really give you is to try to Google it. I'll try to Google it for you, Carol, and see. And I'll also post it on our Facebook group as to the common reasons why we get needle breaks. As a matter of fact, that's a good thing for me to Google and get for you guys. So, Carol, I appreciate that. And as soon as I find that answer, I am going to post that for all of us to look at and read and stuff. Andrea says, I'm wondering if I can change my needle after a certain number of stitches, whether every 8 hours. For me, it's easier to keep up the stitch number than hours. Just wondering. Yeah, you're right, because to me it's like, sometimes it's not, this is what I usually do, Andrea. Andrea, I change it at least every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, just take it out and put in a new one. That's what I do. That way there's no guessing. That's where there's no guessing. And even if I went over the 8 hours, it's not like I went a whole lot of 8 hours. Now, I'm going to tell you something. When I first started embroidering, people told me you're supposed to change the needle every 8 hours. And me being cheap, okay, I didn't change them every 8 hours. I changed that needle when it broke. That's the only time I changed the needle. And I'm going to tell you something. When I first got the machine, the embroidery was beautiful. But towards the 6th month, it started to look a little jacked up. And then I was like, what the hell? So then I found out, that's when I learned about, you better clean that machine, because lint feeds in that machine, and you have to take the case out and you got to clean it out. And maybe it's better you change the needle, because I noticed that when I was sewing, and especially embroidering, it didn't look neat. It didn't look neat, you know? And then when I changed the needle, all of a sudden it looked, and I cleaned the machine, it was like I had less squeaking, and it actually like embroidered nicely. So I was like, ain't that something? So sometimes people tell you stuff and you don't, you start thinking, why I gotta change the needle? I mean, the needle works, the needle works. I don't want to, why am I gonna be buying all these needles and stuff? But trust me, these people have been sewing for years. They know what they're talking about, and I'm sure that when the lady saw that I had that doll there, she was probably like, damn, she hard-headed. She didn't want to change that needle. I didn't want to change it. I wanted to keep sewing, So that's why I just broke down and bought 100 needles. I bought the 10-pack, the 10 packs, and I actually change 7 needles every 2 weeks, because what I do is I change them on both machines. I change it on the SC1900, which is only one. So if you really think about it, if you buy the 100 pack and all you have is the SC1900, that 100 pack's going to last you for a very long time. I run out a little faster, but it's all because of this baby right here, because she is 6 needles. So, I always go through at least like 2, and like 2 packs every month. So, I have to buy a little more and stuff like that. So, but I would use that as a rule of thumb. Just do it like every 2 weeks, and then you'll be good and stuff. Harmony says, the needle breaks for different reason. Even could be the file poured. Yeah, Harmony's right, because sometimes what happens too is if they have a design, if you have an embroidery file and it's very, very dense, because it's embroidering in very close and in a certain amount area, that could cause a needle break. And I agree with, to me, that's a poor digitized. That's poorly digitized. Because you shouldn't, you're not. I'm not an expert in that. Okay, but if you want to learn digitizing, I strongly suggest look up John Deere. That's like the king of embroidery. Okay, his family's been doing it for years, and I signed up for his course. But from what I learned so far from him is you're supposed to design so that there is less penetration in the fabric when you're embroidering, the less possible. So if it's extremely dense, then that's an issue. So Harmony is right. And then Harmony says, it's hard for me to keep track when I'm changing my needle for 16. Oh, do you have a Melco by any chance? Harmony, please let me know what kind of machine you have, because I want to get, I have a Brother PR670E, which is a 6 needle, and my next machine, I want it to be a 15 needle, and I'm looking at the Melcos. I don't want to get the Rokoma because I heard really bad things and bad reviews about that machine. And I hope that's not one you have. And if you do have it, I hope it works for you. I heard a lot of bad things about it, so I don't want to take a chance because, embroidery machines are expensive. So I would like to get in the future. My goal is not this year, or maybe towards the end of this year or next year, get my 15 needle machine. So I would love to know what machine you use and stuff. Needle breaks. If my thread keeps breaking or I get a needle break for a fabric is snagged, then I change the needles. Yep, I do the same. Harmony got some really good advice there and stuff. Man, I would love to know what kind of machine you use. I really would and stuff. Hey, Miss Smiles, how are you? Go Gone. Yes, Harmony. Yes, Go Gone. I love that stuff. I just had it, and I don't know where I put it. I think it's back there somewhere. But I usually have my sticky stabilizer, and what I do is I peel it off and then I just stick it to the back, and then I put it in the hoop, and then I put it in here. But then what ends up happening is when I tear it off, I have a whole bunch of stuff here. Go Gun is really, really good to get rid of adhesive and also to clean your hoops. If you use cutaway stabilizer and you spray temporary adhesive, sometimes that gets your hoop dirty. You know, this whole thing will get really dirty and it'll get sticky. Go Gone, beautiful. It'll work. It does wonders. I love that stuff and everything. Got my hat. Oh, Juanita got my hat hoop yesterday. Good for you, man. I guess I'm gonna see a lot of new hats, and I haven't tried it yet. Sarah, you gotta do it. You got to do it and stuff. Yeah, and Lucky Lucy does have the website for the hat hoop and stuff. Hey, Daisy, Carol. Okay, Melissa, have you ever downloaded the design to your computer and then go to stitch it out, and the design won't stitch out correctly? Now none of my designs won't stitch out correctly, even my internal ones. Okay. Melissa, well, okay. I never had that issue. I wonder if you have a problem with your machine. Because I am thinking what you're saying, because you're saying now none of your designs won't stitch out correctly, which means that these were designs that, to me, I feel you're saying these are designs that you had that you did stitch out on your SC1900 in the past, and for some reason it's not stitching out now. So I honestly would believe that you know, where do you purchase your hats? Okay, Maria, I will get to your question. Melissa, if you try to shut off your machine completely and then turn it back on, also, if you have software like Embroidery, make sure that the files that you have on your flash drive are the right size, that they are truly 5x7. Honestly, if you can't get it to work, you may have to take it in for brother to take a look at it. I hate saying that, but you know, I just never experienced that before. The only time that I've experienced where I could not see a design on the Brother SC1900 on the 5x7 hoop is probably, you know, and I would see the design, but it's grayed out, and it's because it was bigger than the 5x7 hoop. It's not big enough for it to fit in the hoop that I'm going to embroider on, and I would have to take it to the 6 needle machine. So that's the only time, Melissa. I wish I could be more help on that one and stuff. But I would reach out to Brother. I'm sure that they have some kind of support where maybe you could put a ticket or something so that they could see if they could give you some ideas and stuff. Maria, the hats and the beanies that I get, if you go over to my Amazon store, I do have them linked. And do know that when I do that stuff, when I'm looking at Amazon for stuff that I buy, I'm always looking for the best price, okay? Good quality and the best price. But, you know, click on it, look at it. But if you see something at a better price, shoot, go for it, okay? Because, you know, it's all about money. Keep that money in your pocket, you know? So, you know, just to let you know and stuff. So, but I do have it in my Amazon store. Okay, so if you guys are not part of the Facebook group, because I do have the Amazon store listed on there, we have a Facebook group, and it's called Happy Embroidery Hour Adventures, or Happy, no, shoot, I forgot what it's called. Hold on. Oh man, I hope I didn't lose you guys. All right, hold on. I think it's Happy Hour Adventures, something like that. I'll post it on there. I'll post it. And if you look at the description of this video below, you will see it. Okay. You will see it and stuff. And also you will get the link to my Amazon store as well and stuff, where you can see all of the products that I usually use. Let me see. The magnetic hoop, same thing, Carol. I will have it. I will have that in the Amazon store. You can link on it and stuff. And let's see. I try to make sure that the needle is in right. If it's not in right, then it will break. Yes, Carol, it does. That is the time when I notice that it always breaks the most for me. Let's see. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Thank you, S Salmon, 0426. Let's see. I bought the 100 pack when it break. Okay. That's Andrea. Kelsey, I took the plunge and got the embrilliance, and hubby wants to digitize, and I have to pay the full price for that also. Yeah, okay, Kelsey, that's what happened with me. Okay, I bought Embrilliance Essentials, and then what ended up happening was Fred wanted to take two images and merge them together. But in order for him to do that, you have to digitize. So that's when I ended up having to get Stitch Artist level 1, 2, and 3. So we got that. So I'm like, oh, that's great. Oh, you do have a Melco. That's the one I want. Oh, Harmony, you got my dream machine. You got my dream machine. Ah, man, good for you, man. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. Look, I'm determined to succeed. I'm gonna get there. Oh, Harmony, that's the machine I want. Man, we gotta talk because I am really seriously thinking about that machine. I'm sorry, guys. Harmony got me all excited and stuff because it is the machine that I do want to get. That's my dream machine. That's the next one that I was wanting to get. So, Harmony, I'm jealous. But good for you, man. Oh man, I would love to see some of the stuff that you do on that machine and stuff. How much cutaway stabilizer you cut off a finished product? Okay, Juanita, what I usually do is, like, if I have a shirt, right? Let's say that this was embroidered. This is not. This is a heat press. This is not embroidered. But let's say I did this. What I would do is I would just cut around the word determined, okay? And then what I usually do is they have backings, okay? Like, we use Tender Touch, right? And I would cut that and I would iron it on the back of the shirt, inside on the back. Okay, you want to do that because remember, when you're embroidering, you have all that thread, right? And I don't have an example in front of me. All right, when you're embroidering, like here's burning, right? I did burning, right? So when you go in back, you have all these little tails, all this, it looks ugly. It doesn't look clean. So usually you get Tender Touch, and then what I do is I go to my heat press, and then I just cut the Tender Touch and I put it on top as a covering. So as you can see, it makes it look neater. It looks nicer and neater. And when you're wearing shirts, you don't have all this rubbing against somebody's skin. So what they do is, they just feel this, and it's nice and soft. So that's what I usually do. You don't cut off everything. You don't cut off everything because remember, cutaway stabilizer, you want to leave some of it in there because that's what keeps all the threads intact. Because I usually use cutaway stabilizer when it comes to a lot of shirts, okay? Because these are things that go in the wash a lot. So if they're going to wash a lot, if you use tearaway dissolves in the wash, and the next thing you know, when they take it out of the dryer, their shirt's all crumbled. Even though I don't recommend putting those kind of stuff in the dryer. But let's be real, customers are going to do it, right? They're going to put stuff in the dryer. So, hey, Mello, how you doing, honey? Let me see. Where do you buy the magnetic hoop? I will show you it, Carol. I will make sure that's in the store. Okay, Kathy. The operation manual section, right? There's a note on enemy to replace the needle. Okay. I hear the same bad things about Wacoma, but I did hear some good things, so I'm not sure. I hear a lot of good things about the SS machines, to look into that one as well. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah, there is a YouTuber called neverdenieme.com. He did one on Wacoma, and that's what really turned me off on them. And it's just, you got to be careful when you're buying some of these embroidery machines, because a lot of times what people do is the companies just want to sell the machine, and then sometimes after they sell it, they don't want to support it. So when you're going to a 15 needle machine, I mean, you're talking money. You're talking mega bucks, okay? even though this six needle machine wasn't cheap either. Okay. So, you know, it's like, that's why I really want to make sure I do my research really, really well before I take the plunge to that next machine, because I know the next machine is really going to be a lot of money and stuff. After completing, such as a piece of clothing, number 4, after using 3 full bobbins of thread. 3 bobbins of thread on one. Wow. Damn, Kathy, I want to see that shirt. How much embroidery did you do on that shirt? Oh my God, that had to have a lot of stitches on there. Can you show how to use the magnetic hoop on? Yes. And you know what? I think you guys asked me about that before too. And I will do the magnetic hoop on the SC1900. I can definitely do that. It's not hard. I'm telling you. And for those of you that don't know, this is what it looks like. This is a magnetic hoop for the single needle machine. And this is a very good one to use. I wish I could use this with the hat hoop. Unfortunately, you cannot. You can't, because this does not go well with this. Okay. I wish they had something like that. The reason why I like this one is because I feel like it slides very easy. I will do the video and I will show you. And as a matter of fact, I will even do a comparison between the magnetic and the 5x7 so that you guys can see what I'm talking about when I talk about how easy it slides into the machine and stuff like that. So I will definitely do that for you and stuff. You're already winning. Magnetic hoop in your store doesn't fit. The magnetic hoop doesn't fit. This one fits. I will double check to make sure I am linking the right one. Okay, thanks Vegas Slice for store. Thanks for pointing that out. I'll make sure that I fix that. Okay, I appreciate that. Let me see. That's when it's recommended change your needle according to. Oh, okay. Oh, so she's okay. Kathy D is saying if you go over to the manual in section B31, it tells you exactly about the recommendation of changing the needles and stuff. What is the number on the magnetic hoop? Oh shoot, I don't have a number on this. See, I had bought this a while ago and I threw it out. All right, what we need to do is really find out. This is how what you should really do. Where's my 5x7 hoop? I don't even know where I placed it. Oh man. Here it is. What it is these two have to match to go into the machine. Okay, if you see it right here, these two have to match exactly. And that's how you know that this is going to fit in the SC1900. So I will check on Amazon for you guys to make sure that I am linking the right one. Because from what Vegas Life tells me, I don't think I did link the right one. So I have to fix that. So I will definitely link the right one. I bought this a while ago. I'm sure they still have it. I'm sure they do. And this is the one that I got came with the 6 magnets. But like I said, I will get that for you guys. If you don't mind asking, how much did you pay for the 6 needle machine? Nope, I don't mind at all. It was about it was $9,000 for it. And when I went to the sewing place, the lady knocked off a couple of money off of it. It was $8,999, and it was an $11,000 machine. And she knocked off, I think it was like $3,000. So I paid $8,999 for the machine. And when I bought the 6 needle machine, it's a brother. I had to buy the stand, and the stand was more money. And then you got to buy the fast frames. And then and then as you start to get to embroidering, I'm telling you, embroidering is not cheap. I'm telling you, it really is not. Then you start getting magnetic hoops. And then after you start buying magnetic hoops, then I had to buy the hooping station. And then, it's just, the more you start to embroider, the more stuff, as you start working on projects, from project to project to project, you start to buy more stuff. So, you know, and I joined your group, so I'll post what I'm doing, which is mainly masks right now. People will not leave me alone about these masks. Oh, Harry, I know what you're talking about, because in April, that's what I did. I was sewing masks like crazy. But I'll tell you what, I made like $2,000 selling masks, and that the single needle machine was $1,000. So sell that the month of April, I already made the money back on that. Now my goal is to try to make the money back on this. Okay, and once I do that, then I can be where Harmony Ling is, where I can get my Melco machine. So that's what I'm trying to get there. They have the oh, Juana said they really have it, but you really have to look at the right one because they have others similar to it. Yes, you do. So guys, I will look for you, and I will make sure that I link the exact one that you need, okay? And stuff. So, but Vegas Life, thank you so much for pointing that out. I really appreciate that, because man, I don't want you guys to really get something wrong. You know what I'm saying? Robin, please let me know when you change the hoop. I'm ready to place my order. Okay, I will. As a matter of fact, I probably will do it right after today. And it is past 9. So guys, I mean, that was all I have. I was just doing research and stuff because every time we meet on Friday, one of the goals is to try to talk to you guys about certain things to watch out for and, you know, learn new things. I also want to let you guys know I bought a brand new cutting board, and I am going to do a review on the cutting board. My review on this cutting board is kind of like in the middle. It's not something that I'm kind of like, oh my God, you gotta have it. I found it kind of like an iffy thing, but I have it. I could see use for it, but I wanted to show you guys. But I'm gonna do a whole separate video on that so that I can put the camera on it and show you guys what it is, how it works, what I liked about it, and what I didn't like about it. That way you guys know, because there are so many accessories out there to help make embroidering and sewing so much easier. So, you know, as I keep, you know, looking at different stuff, I always want to show you guys what options we have out there and stuff. So I am going to say good night for this Friday and stuff. Love you guys. I really appreciate also, I just want to say, I appreciate all the support from all you guys. You know, when I just started this channel, it was just me playing around with the machine. And, you know, I just really love it. I love all the support I get in the Facebook group. I love all the support I get in the channel. I learned so much from you guys, just like you know, you guys learning from me. I'm learning from you guys as well. And, you know, I just love it. So anyway, hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. You know, and happy sewing and embroidery. And please be safe out there. So love you guys. And I will see you next Friday. And I will be posting more videos this coming week for sure. Okay, so I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night. Be careful out there. Bye.